Our first speaker is Dr. Simon Johnson, Director of Regional Geoscience. Simon is a specialist in tectonics and mineral isotope geology and has been at the Geological Survey for a mammoth 15 years. Please welcome Simon to the stage and remember to submit any questions via Slido. Instructions are on your table.
Morning, everyone. Thanks, Michelle. Thanks to Jeff and the Minister for setting the scene for my talk. I think you're going to hear a lot of repeats from what's just been said, but anyway, at least I can try and put it all together. So, with COP26 just finishing up, Australia has committed to net zero by 2050. So, what does that mean for everybody? Certainly for everybody in this room, there is going to be major changes in the resources sector. In order to achieve that net zero, we need to find more copper than we've ever mined in the history of planet Earth and humans in the next 10, 15 years. We need to find that. We're going to need critical minerals, and the talk of the next, ecological fuel is hydrogen. And as Jeff said, it's all colours. It's probably manufactured, but it's also natural hydrogen. And so we're going to need more mining to achieve that net zero goal. And I think 2 days ago, the Prime Minister released $500 million for research into carbon capture and storage. Again, removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere and locking it up deep in the earth. And of course, those reservoirs are also amenable for the storage of liquid hydrogen. And more mining, more emissions. Well, actually, you guys are going to have to go and work towards a net zero mining. And so the Mariwa are actually leading that charge in Western Australia. But the last one on this slide here is actually maybe one of the most critical, in that pretty much every tier 1 deposit exposed within Australia has been found, probably. And so your exploration space is now more challenging. It's undercover. It's under thin and thick amounts of regolith, but it's also under thin sedimentary basins. So, as a trusted world-leading geological survey organisation, our objective is to provide objective and authoritative geoscientific data, information, and turn that into knowledge so that you guys can go out there and find the new deposits, but also so that we can use our resources responsibly, so we don't lock up land, prospective land, for other uses. And so we asked ourselves, maybe a year ago, are we actually as a geological survey, are we well placed to meet that challenge? Are we doing the right geoscience? Have we got the right people and the right skills to do that? Our data, is it fair? Is it findable, accessible, interoperable, and reproducible? Are we giving you everything that we've got? And are we engaging? Are we listening to industry? Are we doing the right things to take us down that journey? And so that led us into creating this high-level document, this Unearthing Western Australia 2030. It's a 10-year high-level strategy, Jeff has mentioned, and it really outlines our role in society, in the community, and our aspirations of where we want to be. But as I've just mentioned, it actually identified that we actually need to take a deeper look at 4 things: at our geoscience, at our team, at our data, and the information that we provide. And so we were tasked to go away and provide some more detailed strategies, decadal strategies around geoscience, around our staffing, around our data, and around our stakeholder engagement. And that's really what we have done and are in the process of doing. So we'll start with our geoscience strategy. This one is coming to completion, and this should be publicly available in a format on our website, hopefully by the end of the year. But our remit is to build our geological understanding of the state and actually to relate that to the Earth resources, so to link geology and exploration, really. And we've always done it, but we need to continue doing it, is to develop state-of-the-art acquisition, analysis, and interpretation techniques that we can turn data into information, but critically, information into knowledge. And it's those knowledge products which we put out there, which we hope stimulate you guys to find the next resources. But as I said, that information is critical for us to manage the West Australian land tenure, because we don't want to lock up, for example, a tier one, an unknown tier one copper deposit with a hydrogen plant or something like that. We need those deposits to get where we want to be. So everything is syngenetic. It all goes together. And so what's really different? Well, okay, the plan for the Geoscience is that, guess what? We want to understand the geology of WA. We want to understand the lithospheric architecture and its evolution. The next deposits are undercover, so we need to better be informed about the regolith and the landformed evolution. And, of course, earth resources. We want to understand our mineral systems better, our mineral, petroleum and energy systems better. But I think the critical thing that we want to work on moving forwards is that knowledge integration. We've all got the knowledge in our heads. All of our geoscientists, we all talk and we've all got this conceptual knowledge. But when somebody leaves the organisation, for example, they take that knowledge with them. Or when we publish a record or report, it's locked up in that report. Somebody has to read it. So the future is actually combining our data science with our geological science. It's encoding that knowledge into data that can be mined by machines or humans. And the other bit is the figure on the right-hand side there. And again, this is no surprise to anybody. To understand geology, you're looking at material, you're looking at dimension, and you're looking at process. All three things are absolutely interlinked. So material is things like the composition and the structure of the earth or the rocks. And the dimension is the time and the space. How long are these things? How much time did it take for these things to form? And then process is, how did the rocks form? What are the geochemical processes, the physical processes that form them? And, you know, we do that as geologists. We put that things together in our head. But by actually conceptualising it and putting it out there to our staff, we get everybody to start working together for a common cause. But equally, this is really important because this is our future. Okay, so for the past few years, and certainly for the decade ahead, we've put a lot of people and a lot of resources into this area that we call the Gap. This is really the remote desert country in the central and eastern part of Western Australia. And all the geology there is mostly undercover. We call it the Gap because it's actually the gap in our knowledge, that we actually don't know much about the geology there because not a lot of it is exposed. But there's hints of prospectivity. Well, in fact, in the Northwest Paterson, there's a huge amount of prospectivity. But certainly out in the West Arunta and the far East Ilgan, where the Ilgan dives under the Officer and Canning Basins, there are still hints of prospectivity. And if we're going to start finding the next generation of deposits, this is probably where they're going to be. So, as a geological survey organisation, how do we work? We normally go out, we walk across the ground, we map the rocks, and we draw our maps and so on. There's no outcrop, we can't do that. So this is a major geofrontier for us, for the geological survey. How do we map the rocks undercover? And that's about this data integration. That's about turning geophysics into geology. That's about this integrated science approach. And it's also about creating our own outcrop. So what do I mean by that? Well, drill core and drill chips are really going to be the new outcrop for us. And so for this plan, for the Gap, we've got 3 deep dive areas. And this is really where MinEx CRC comes in. We're an affiliate of MinEx CRC. We're putting a lot of money in, and we get that money back as drilling, as diamond drilling or CT rig drilling. And so for the West Arunta and the Far East Ilgan, we will be partnering with MinEx to do some drilling. But in the Northwest Paterson, with the EIS co-funded drilling scheme, that's drilling itself. So as was mentioned in the video, that we get half the core, that is our new outcrop. That is the outcrop that we can log and we can sample to integrate this science to begin to understand that region. So how do we fund that? And again, it's been mentioned here, through the COVID recovery, we've purchased a new HiLogger 4 system. We were given $7 million to extend the Joe Lord core library. Again, if drill core is the new outcrop, we need somewhere to store it, we need somewhere to keep it, and where we can look and sample it. The Minister mentioned $3.2 million for the co-purchase of a Cameco iron probe. That's the machine of the future. This is the thing that's going to tell us about copper isotopes, iron isotopes, manganese, magnesium isotopes. It's going to open up a new world into distal footprints. So it's going to be, when that comes in and that's up and running, that's going to be incredibly amazing. From the COVID recovery, we also purchased $1 million for 20 passive seismometers. And again, that's getting us a deeper look at the crust and the mantle. And as already been mentioned, we've got an extra $2.5 million, so $12.5 million per year for the for the EIS. So that's actually more drilling, more co-funded drilling, so that's more outcrop for us. But it also means we can do more cutting-edge research. It means we can collaborate more with industry, government, and academia. Then we move on to the data transformation strategy. Again, this has been mentioned. We hold a wealth of pre-competitive geoscience data, stuff which is generated by you guys, company data which you submit to us, and stuff that we generate in-house. And that's both all the legacy data, as well as all the stuff which is coming in and being generated as we speak. And we know that we've got billions of dollars worth of data. If it was all be wiped out, it would be billions and billions of dollars to replicate that. And we're honest with you, we know that most of that data is not fair. And so we want to deliver a modern, streamlined, open data delivery platform for you guys to get every bit of data that we have. We also, as it says in the video, we want to be at the forefront of geoscience data delivery. So this thing was either going to be a snail or a hare. We were either going to do it over 10, 12 years, bit by bit, every year, with every little bit of money that we could get to do it. Or, thankfully, we've been funded by the state government of $10.6 million to do this, to take this journey over the next 4 years. So between now and the end of June, we're really in that planning phase, looking at high-level architecture and design of the system and what we want it to do and so on. And then the 3 years after that are going to be the busy phase, the execution phase of actually making that happen. It will be a cloud solution, obviously, that's the way forwards, and it will be open to machine learning, AI, so open for humans and for machines to read. Every bit and every byte of GSWA data we hope will be available. And that includes things like scanning of legacy data and the physical assets that we have. And all the data will be delivered through a single portal, a spatial data portal, which we hope will have embedded knowledge integration within it. So look, here's just a very rough system architecture. So when you come to our new system, there will hopefully be one e-lodgement portal, so you'll only go to one place to submit your data. You will not see our databases, our WAMEX, MINDEX, WAPIMS, ENS. You won't see those anymore. They will all be integrated. You won't have to go into each system individually. And there will be one data discovery portal. So that will have a text search, APIs to other websites, spatial searches, knowledge graphs. So, for example, if you want to check your tenement, you would draw your square or you'd select your tenement, and every single piece of information that is available for that in that search space will be delivered back to you. So that's the aspiration. Then we'll move on to the stakeholder strategy. And of course, that's about providing trusted advice and supporting the responsible development of our diverse resources sector, promoting standards in exploration and mining, governance, social responsibility and environment. But I've highlighted the one there in bold, is this is the bit that the Geological Survey has never really ever done very well, and I think that it is absolutely our responsibility. And that is to promote and educate the public on geoscience and environmental matters, the way forward. Everybody has a mobile phone, everybody has a car, everybody takes aeroplanes flying everywhere. People need to understand that mining, actually responsible mining and ethical mining, is not bad. In fact, we need more mining to be able to end up where we want to be. The public need to get that message. And so we always recognise that we can do better at engaging with everybody here, all our stakeholders. Land use planning and land use tenure is a big thing for us probably in the next decade. So we've got all these things emerging: carbon capture, hydrogen, renewables, and we've recognised very early on that we are going to require a new Land Administration Act, and there is going to be need to reform to enable multiple land use tenure to do what we want to do. As I mentioned, we don't want to lock up vast tracts of land with solar plants and hydrogen plants, and then we discover that there's a tier 1 deposit sitting underneath. So we've got to be really forward-looking, using our geoscience and really getting within government to explain why we can't do certain things and really make sure that we get our land tenure perfect. So on the right is an image, and this is just 3 simple layers. In the green are our pastoral stations. In the red are the bits which have now been locked up for plan for our parks. And then in the grey are all our mining tenements. So already you can see there's a huge conflict for land within this state. That's without heritage issues. That's without renewables and everything else which is coming. So this is going to be a big area for us in the future. So industry engagement. COVID knocked things around a little bit. We did manage to have industry update, so we invited companies who had tenements out in the Patterson to come into GSWA, and we explained, this was in June 21, our new research, and we hope that we can do that in a few more areas going forwards from here on in. So we would like to bring companies in to Mineral House, give a few half-day lectures and so on, and that be reciprocal as well for industry to be open with us and tell us the new things that they found. Open Day, obviously this is our big major opportunity to talk to you guys, and I hope that you've seen that we've tried to do something really different this year. We've moved from Fremantle, we've moved it away from RIU, we've tried to be more open and honest with the things we're doing, and I'm just blown away to see that the age of people in this room has dropped significantly from our normal open days. So the young exploration guys, you're the future. You're the ones that need to come and be part of this journey together. So we're really happy about that. So thank you. We're doing a lot more on social media. So LinkedIn and Twitter, particularly LinkedIn. This is where we try to engage with industry. So all our new products, we put out on LinkedIn. So if you want to know what we're doing, click like, find us on LinkedIn, click like, and then you'll get every bit of information that we put out there new. You'll get it delivered to your desktop and a link to show you where it is. But we're also now we're doing a lot more on Facebook for the public as well. So we're starting with fun facts and information about what we do, information on the geology of WA. And then slowly as we go, we're going to start filtering in things around critical issues, around mining, climate change. What we don't want to do, first we need to build up a base of people, a base of subscribers on Facebook. So far we've got about 700 people. That's probably gone up in the last few days. But we don't want to just bombard people with this stuff. It's a slow education. And so we're trying to do it responsibly and engage people in a really nice way. We do, on the top left-hand side there, every month we do a live webinar. And at the moment, we're getting a live audience of about 30 or 40 people. But at the week after, that webinar goes up onto our website. So please, if you don't know about that, please go to our website. We've probably got about 10, 15 or 20 webinars already up there. You can watch them whenever you like. So that's sort of aimed at both industry and public. It's sort of in that middle ground. And on the bottom right-hand side, you've just watched our GSWA video. And then I'd like to announce that as of this morning, we've just officially launched our GSWA podcast series. This is a series of 20 podcasts which will be released between every Friday from here on until the end of February. We've got Hugh Smithies, Heather Howard, Kath Gray, Paul Morris and Tim Griffin, and they are basically explain some of their journey and their life through the GSWA and the changes that they've seen, their interactions with heritage and everything else. Because I've been dealing with it, I've listened to every single one, and they're absolutely fantastic, and I'll go back and listen to them all again. So it does take a couple of days for things like Spotify and iTunes to pick these up, but I think Sabrina will put something out later. There is a website you can go to listen to today, but if not, in the next couple of days, go to Spotify or iTunes and have a look for Rocks Beneath Our Feet, and it should be there, and click subscribe. We've moved a lot more into geotourism and geoheritage as well. So we now actually have a dedicated small team to start producing interactive armchair geology, so you don't need to go out there. You can view the geology from your home. But we're also producing geological trails, and last week, or 2 weeks ago, we released the Railway Reserve Heritage Geotrail, and I think you have one in your goodie bags. And we're also doing a lot more in the geoheritage space, explaining to people, public, everybody else about the preservation of that geology, that we do need to preserve those sites. So look, in summary, GSWA is taking a proactive, not reactive stance about our net zero future. The biggest thing for us is integrating that geoscience and that data science, and that will come with our data strategy and our geoscience strategy. So hopefully within 4 years, we'll have a system which is up and running, which will be just hopefully forefront of geoscience. And all of that is about stimulating discovery for you guys, bringing in increased investment into the state, but certainly opening up new undercover provinces. And of course, dealing with land tenure resolution. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.